Growing up, I was always interested in the mental game. After years of study, I developed the BasketballBrain program. My life is devoted to helping others achieve their greatness. I hope you'll like, subscribe, and if you take a chance with the BasketballBrain program, I promise you your game's going to reach levels that you never thought possible.
What's up, BasketballBrain fans and members? I'm in the gym, so you're going to hear the ball bouncing, some guys talking trash, I'm sure. Anyways, I was just reading the story by von Kleist, who was a German poet and writer. And he had this story about a bear. And this bear was really unique. The bear could fight you. And he would wait for you to come and challenge him. Now here's the thing about this bear. If you thought before you hit him, if you thought I'm going to throw a right cross, he knew it was coming. If you thought I'm going to fake, he would just stand there and not move because you had an intention before you went to strike. Now, when you play basketball, when you're really in the zone, it's very similar to that. The only way you can hit that bear is to let it spontaneously happen, to let your game, to let your fighting just come out naturally in the ebb and flow of the engagement with this foe. And the same thing is true in basketball. The best players get on automatic. The reason we train our minds is so we can think less and less. And what we've programmed into our muscle memory and into our subconscious mind just starts flowing into the game. Think of a time when you were in the zone and how effortlessly you can score, make the right play, how things tend to break your play, how you feel sort of ahead of the game. Wayne Gretzky famously said, they asked him why you're so good. He said, most guys skate to where the puck is. I skate to where the puck's going to be. So as you're in the flow of the game, you're in an anticipatory state. You can start to know what's going to happen before it happens. You start to know when somebody shoots a ball, where to be for the rebound. You know where to cut to get the pass. You start to sense where the defense is and you drift to the open spots. Steph Curry's a master at this. So what you want to do is really start trying to get into the flow of the game where you're not thinking, like it's when you're fighting that bear and there's no conscious action before the action. It's all subconscious, it's all unconscious. Now that sounds very complicated, but you've been there before. All of you have been in the zone where you can't miss, and I want you to go back there and remember what that feels like. Feels like to just have everything go on automatic. That's why we call it unconscious, because you're not exactly self-conscious. So as the self diminishes, what arises is just you as the game itself, you as your practice. When you see somebody in the zone, what you're really seeing is not them, you're seeing their practice. You know, when we say he's in the zone, it's not him in the zone. He's voided himself to a certain extent. And everything he's programmed into himself is just running. And that's what we watch basketball for. That's why you play. Now, not every game can you get into the hyper zone where you're shooting 70%. But you can get into a fairly consistent zone where you're shooting 50% from the field, 90% from the line, and 50% from three, or somewhere in that range. Steph Curry's pretty darn good at staying in that zone where it's not exactly the hyper zone all the time, but it's a zone. Like, okay, just to give you an example of the hyper zone, Klay Thompson scoring 37 points in a quarter, hyper zone. Score 51 points in 3 quarters. That's hyper zone. Regular zone is your consistent 30, 20, depending on your position, but 20 to 30 points a game. And you know, if you're in a point guard, you're getting 8 to 12 assists. If you're a big man, you're getting these rebounds. And then you get into hyper zone some game where you get 20 rebounds, 20 assists, 50 points. Okay, you can't play that way every time. I mean, maybe you can. I don't want to put any limits on anybody. But either way, the very best players stay in that zone. They voided themselves. When they get in the game, the reason they're consistent is because there's no conscious effort. They realize when they're playing another team, it's like playing that bear. And you can't think because they start to anticipate it. Guys who overthink end up in trouble. They have premeditated moves. The best players, when Steph Curry makes a great move, it may be something he's practiced, but it still happens spontaneously. And then what's really interesting, and what I love about basketball, is when you practice your move so much, your subconscious mind can automatically, instantaneously create variations. It's like you're a jazz musician. And in jazz, you've practiced the fundamentals, and then all of a sudden this completely new iteration of what you've done emerges. It's an emergent property that you didn't practice. So Jordan drives baseline, and he switches it 8 ways and then flips it up. Now, he's definitely done a lot of reverse layups, but he's never done that exact layup. It's because the subconscious mind can create on the fly. It's like a freestyle rapper. I mean, really, that's the state you get into. It's almost a freestyle rap state really freestyle where you have no lyrics written down. But you studied so much, you have the groove, the pattern of the rhymes in your blood. Same thing, you have these moves, you have your left hand, your right hand, you have different dribble moves, and then just let the subconscious combine it, and combine it while it's reacting to the defense. It's really fascinating, but if you start to think, if you're overthinking, you're never gonna really get in the zone. So ironically, all this mental work we do, where we teach ourselves how to talk to ourselves, we teach ourselves how to visualize, it's to quiet the mind in the end. To be able to attack the bear, because the bear doesn't know what we're going to do because we're not premeditated. Anyways, I love that story. Just be the game. And I'm not just giving you like empty advice. If you do the program, you will slip into that state more often. The difference between what I do and what other guys do is they're just giving you advice. The program gives you drills to do that will help you get there. It's not just, this is what you should do, now go do it. I don't just tell you to have confidence, I actually show you how to get confidence. I don't just tell you how to have, you should have composure. That does nothing. I show you how to get composure. I don't tell you just, everybody says concentrate. Your coach will say concentrate at the free throw line. What's that mean? The program shows you how. So there's real drills there that will help you. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you go. Hopefully you can hear this with the background noise. I'm gonna try to get one more game in. Bye.